Okay, the garden or the summer garden continues, right? With all my plants actually shaping up. This is the view that you get from my deck. You know, of I was actually looking at them this morning. I'm saying, oh my God, you think I've done all this? And indeed, I have actually. But I mean, it's something I like to do, so it comes very natural. You know. But before I go into this video, I'm going to delve into this plant. This plant is called the bolagi. Oh, sorry, it's called bolagi. Okay, and it's akin to Creoles of Freetown, Sierra Leone. And if you are a Creole, you should know this plant, and you should know. Well, maybe you don't know really, because for the simple fact that if you never used to grow anything whilst you were growing up, or your parents never used to, or your neighbors, then probably you would not have been fortunate to know about the bolagi plant. Anyway, the bolagi plant does not, this particular species of it does not seed. Okay, what you have to do is, once you harvest it, and it's usually harvested by plucking off the leaves. You can see how big this leaf is. They go like that in the summer when you put them outside, and you can see how thick the stems are as well. So these stems is what you actually will put in the soil or in a jar of water, and once you start bringing roots out, then you can transplant it onto your pot or the ground, whatever way you feel like doing it. Okay, this one is growing very nicely, and this is actually the way they grow in the summer. When you bring them outside, and once they start getting used to the hotness of the weather or the heat of the weather, the stems start getting thick, as you can see, and they also have a very strong smell. Okay, this is my bolagi plant. I started this in this is June, so I would say I started it outside probably around April, May, June, April. And I mean, it's gone very big from original to now. Okay, and these are all perennials because these are scallions, and these ones I just leave them there. Same with the thyme. These are all perennials. Once you plant them, that's it. You take care of them in the pot, they'll just come back every year. In fact, they don't even die. And most of these plants you see, I actually buy what they call the distressed plants from Lowe's. Lowe's is my favorite store actually, and all of them are distressed flowers that I actually buy and just bring them up, because that's the fun of gardening. It's just not to just go buy the stuff in those garden centers and come put them, because then you don't really know the origin or how they come about. It's always nice to nurse them up. Okay, and this is basil, and these were from seeds from last year's plant. That's how I get my seeds. Same with the this is cilantro. Same thing, they'll seed, and once the seed, you harvest the seed, next year you have seeds. You don't have to go buy them. And every one of these other plants you see, they're all distressed plants. If people have been following my video, you would remember this one, because this one has been one that actually was, I bought it dying. I think I paid like $3 for it. And look at it right now. It's got used to the soil, so it's doing fine, and it's going to continue doing fine. This is a mint plant. Again, this mint, yes, they do actually bring out seeds, but a lot of times they don't die as well, because even the stem can be as dry as the wood itself, say in the winter. Come spring, they're going to shoot out and they start again. So once you plant them, they're like parasite. They'll be all over the place, all over, and they don't even die. You just get them for life in your yard. Okay, I am still growing sucker plants that I can transfer, because what usually happens, you plant them and you don't get a lot of them come out because it was too early. The weather was not so good for them to actually germinate. So I usually will still continue to do them, like in this bed that you see is cray. And sometimes I leave them to go there. This one over here is sawa. I've just taken out some of them and transferred them to the soil. This is a sunflower plant that I did from scratch as well. And over here is kale. And you'll see as the video continues, if you follow my videos, you'll see how big they can go. And again, they're full of iron and they're very good eating as well. You can steam them, you can cook them like the way we cook a stew. Instead of spinach or whatever, you can still do the same thing. And favorite bolagi. You see the bolagi plant over here? Okay, I'm going to put some soil in this because as you can see the stem is actually not too anchored, so I'm going to get some soil and put it in. But that's it, basically that's how I started them, with stems, put them in the soil, and that's it afterwards. This is a transplant of another perennial because they don't die, because once you put them in the right pot, you know, and remember some of the pots, they hold water and they're not good for the plant. This is the plant that needs a lot of drainage, so it needs a pot that can drain, which like the holes underneath the pot usually should be a few, and then it helps it grows better. If you can see the holes on that pot over there. Sorry, this video sometimes it's too, I can't really see it, but I don't know if that showed the holes, so that's a good pot for that plant too. This is geranium. If you know about citronella, they're all of the same family. They're actually all mosquito plants because, I mean, they bring out, you know, that citronella smell, and it keeps the mosquitoes away. Over here is lavender. I don't know what's happening with my lavender, but they refuse to grow. Anyway, that's okay. If you guys remember, this bed is one of my favorite beds in the summer, because in this particular area I really don't need to plant greens. That is Sierra Leone green or callaloo. They'll come back every year, because what I do is when they grow, I just let them go. Some of them go and seed, and once the seeds are dispersed by the wind, that's it. You're gonna get them all throughout. Okay, you guys saw the cilantro. This is the cilantro. This is what it looks like afterwards, and you can see up there it's gonna start seeding. Okay, and these ones again, cilantro will come back every year. That's cilantro seeding there as well. You know, they'll come back every year. In case you don't know what a callaloo looks like, that's a callaloo right there. See, that's all I got over here. I have a lot of callaloo, and in between there will be some Sierra Leone green. Sierra Leone green is kind of a little bit difficult to grow. I think they're a bit proud, but they still grow anyway, you know. But as you can see, it's all like the greens coming back. In between them is cream clay, because I did throw some cream clay seeds, and that's cream clay right there. You know, so you could actually see the cream clay, but the greens, because the seeds are already in the ground, so you find what happens is they just come out. That's a basil that I transferred onto the ground as well, as you can see the one over there. That's another pot of greens that's gonna grow. This is just my seed box, which I've not shown yet in my video, but I'll show you guys the seed box. And usually what I'll do is I'll just get a pot and just put mixed seeds. But all the time the soil will come out, and all you're seeing over here is callaloo. And callaloo is very good eating. If you guys remember, this is my cucumber squash bed, and they're doing fine as well right now. You can see how big they've gone, and pretty soon they're going to start bringing out cucumbers. In fact, I can see cucumbers there already, little ones. And next to that one is the squash. Okay, squash tend to fall after they grow bigger, so that's why I put them in this thing, so that way at least they can be held together and don't go all over the place, because they would go over the place. They like to creep as well, even though they're not creepers, but they grow tall, and then what happens in the end, they just fall like onto the yard, and that's no good. So it's best for them to be upright, you know. Again, this is my other favorite section of my yard, and because of the love of gardening, people, that's why I find time to do it, because it's very, very time consuming. Again, I've done all this like from April, May, June. We're in June right now, and right now the plants are taking shape, you know, so that's what's going on right now. These are like beans, running beans. Over here again is still cucumbers. I like to plant stuff in the what do you call it now? I like to plant stuff in pots as well. And I'm gonna come back to this bolagi, because I've been having a lot of inquiries about bolagi. Again, bolagi is akin to creoles of Sierra Leone. We usually will cook bolagi and bitas and egusi mixed together. That's a favorite Creole soup or you know, or dish on Saturdays. Now you can see those stems over there. In this case, what I did, because I've been doing this for decades, I could actually take the stems itself and just put it in the soil. Around this time you could do it, because plants tend to grow a lot better when the weather or the temperature comes above 50 degrees. So these ones that you could see was actually just, I did not put them in a jar of water for them to root before I put them in the soil. I just put them there in the soil, and as you can see, they're coming out already. All they need is TLC, and that's another one. But this one was from the roots, and this one is coming up as well. We do have a lot of wildlife here that tend to creep through the wall or the fence, so that's why I have this mesh covering it, because I will really hate for them to come eat my bologi. And they know the good plants. All over there is tomatoes. Tomatoes are easily grown. They're very good for the body as well. You know, they contain a lot of nutrients that is very good for your body. Okay, you see what I'm telling you guys? You see the thing? All that is woods, and a lot of animals over there. Deers, raccoon, chipmunk, all kind of stuff, man. And they like to come through the garden. Okay, I've just harvested my collard greens, and these are hybrid collard greens. You see the way they're thicker as compared to these ones. These are non-hybrid collard greens. Again, they're very good eating. Over here, I'm actually growing the moringa or moringa plant. That's them, you can see there. They're also good stuff for the body. It keeps you going. And as time goes by, you guys gonna see this bed that you're seeing over here is sawa, and I have about maybe 25 odd plants, and it's nice to separate them, because you got to separate your plants, because if you don't separate them, what happens is you know, they don't go so well. So it's always nice to separate them. And the unfortunate part with gardening is the weeding. You got to keep on weeding and weeding and weeding, and that's very time consuming, but I don't go to the gym. This is my exercise. Okay, now this is Sierra Leone green, the green we know. Okay, and this one over here came all by itself. I did not really planted it, because I have them in the soil already. But this particular plant is Sierra Leone green, not to be confused with Callaloo. I mean, they're of the same family, same species, but this one smell and taste differently. As you can see, the leaves are more like, you know, they don't have, the leaves can go very broad, but at the same time they have like that pointed shape, and they're lighter, they're not darker. Callaloo is darker, and the leaves are a little bit wider, you know. And this, like you see, that's a little Callaloo going over there. You could actually see the difference in the plants, you know. And this, again, like I said, this is Sierra Leone green, you know. And pepper, this is Kenya pepper. Pepper takes a long time to grow, but I grow them because I have the patience for them to grow. And in these pots, eventually you're going to see they have clay. My tomatoes are beginning to actually yield seeds, and well, not seeds, tomatoes. So they're coming along as well. And you know, I saw this lone pepper growing. I don't know what type of pepper it is, so I transplanted it as well today. So hopefully that should go. You see sawa coming up there, and it's gonna go big and big and big. You know, once you separate them, they have the space. They're gonna really grow taller and broader. The leaves gonna come out really broad, and that's what it is. But every other so days, I have to come and weed in between them, so at least they don't get choked by the grass. Okay, remember I showed you guys Sierra Leone green. You see Callaloo, how Callaloo looks again? This is Callaloo. Again, because I have them growing here all the time, you know, I don't need to plant them. They'll come back. I just need to look after them. Okay, tomatoes in the cage and tomatoes here. What is the difference? The cage is really going to hold them properly. And believe it or not, I go about and find things. I don't really tend to buy things if I don't have to. So these mesh actually I saw on the road, and that's why I drive a truck, so I can easily put them on the truck. Okay. Again, pepper, okra. And if you remember the beginning of this video, beginning of the season, I told you guys what I do is I actually put them in the cup and plant them and immerse the cup in the soil, because that way it stops them from plant shock. So as you can see right now, that's exactly what's going on. So all these are okra, you see. And the good thing with this okra plant, whilst they're there, you don't have to step on them. because the sacral is the plant, so you don't have to step on them. So that's another good thing by using those paper cups. Over here is beans, and my favorite, potato leaves. And guys, I'm going to show you these potato leaves. If the animals don't come in and eat them, you're going to see how they're going to spread, because they do spread. They never looked anything like this. Again, you got to constantly weed them if you want them to grow properly, because what happens is, if they're choked by the grass, then they're not going to grow. And obviously some insect is bugging them right now, but that's no big deal, because what I do, I have my drum over here, and this will land from Africa. Believe it or not, it works. Unfortunately, it rained, but what I do is when I burn things, the ash, you just throw it on it, and a lot of times the insects will go away. And you guys remember me telling you about mint, chocolate mint, forever and ever is gonna grow. Unfortunately, I'm not having takers, so you see what I do? I just uproot them and just leave them on the ground. I mean, they're gonna become soil and everything else, so it's no big deal. These are just the unfortunate ones. But again, you don't have to grow them. Once you plant one, that's it, year round. See the other type? This is spearmint, which I showed you earlier on, and this is chocolate mint. Okay, and now, because of inquiries that I get all the time, I'm going to show you guys my compost. I just turned them over actually, but that's the compost there. Forget about the nuts and everything. All you got to do is one of these tools, which is a pitchfork, right? That's where you need to turn it over. I don't know if you guys can see like the nuts flying around it, but it doesn't matter anyway, because that's how they are. It's good for them. Okay, but that's it rare. And this one I just started a month ago. This one has been running for a while. Look at the soil. Look how dark, and you can see that this is a very rich soil, and it has everything in it. All the scraps, from the fruits, like the peel of the banana peel, your watermelon and things like that, And over here, this particular department is the soil I make, and I make soil too, because I have ways of making it, so I tend to use this soil as well. Okay, and this is not really compost, this is just soil I tend to make. And basically what I do, I go to Lowe's, I buy the busted bags for half price or a third, and mix them together, and I get myself a good soil. Anyway folks, that's about it for the backyard, and I'm going to show you now the front yard, what I've been doing so far.